What's going on, foodie fans? So it is football seasons and we gotta make some buffalo wings. Yes, Lord. So first thing we want to do is get these wings marinated. I like to use a yellow mustard. I'm using yellow mustard as a binder. You can use multiple different things as a binder. You can actually use olive oil, or you could use mayonnaise, which is actually shocking, but it really is just egg and oil. So just homogenized egg and oil. So, but I'm gonna season this really, really well. Somebody actually put in the comment section, which I thought was funny. They saw this little white powder going on my stuff and they were like, this is why it's so good. Listen, that is actually salt. So please chill. I don't do none of that stuff. I don't condone any of it. But I thought it was funny. Yeah, it is really good. I like to use salt powder instead of a salt crystal because it actually gets into the meat faster. It's not these big ass crystals that you have on there. And smoked paprika. Now you want to season this extremely well. You can actually also use soy sauce in this instead of a salt as a salt substitute, but this is what I'm using. I use salt this time. This is the salt powdery stuff that they kept asking about. So I'm actually gonna let this marinate for at least about 15-20 minutes. You can let this marinate overnight and this is gonna come out amazing. So I do have some ghost pepper. Now I'm just putting a little bit of ghost pepper in here, not a lot. The more ghost pepper in there, the hotter it's gonna get. So if you want it really, really spicy, put about a tablespoon, put a teaspoon. I just barely put any in there and it was just enough for me. Now, I'm actually adding some cornstarch in here, and I've also added some olive oil because I do want the skin to get crispy. You can add flour into it, but it's not going to give it a crispy skin that you needed. So let's go ahead and get the blue cheese going. I put that in the refrigerator. Now, this is what you're going to do for blue cheese. You want to get some mayonnaise. I'm just using regular mayonnaise, not Miracle Whip, because I don't want that tanginess flavor into it. I'm going to use the sour cream to get that tanginess flavor to it, okay? So we have mayonnaise, sour cream, and this is buttermilk. So just adding a little buttermilk to it, and got some minced garlic. Gonna add a little bit of Worcestershire or that W sauce, and some fresh cracked pepper. Yes, I did add a little bit of my famous salt. Now we're gonna mix this around because it is a little loose and we want this to actually kind of be a certain thickness. Now, if you do want a loose dressing, add a little bit more buttermilk if you're using it for like a salad. But if you just want it kind of thick for the wings, I wouldn't do it that way. I'm gonna give you a better angle on the blue cheese. Now, this is some really good blue cheese. Now, a lot of times what you can actually do is when you go into these sections or ask the grocery store, when do they have their sales on? They'll tell you exactly what days they actually have sales on, or you mark things down, because cheese doesn't have, it has a life expiration date. So you can actually ask them when their cheese is about to go, and you can actually get some of the stuff for a lot cheaper than what you're normally paying for, sometimes 50-60% off. So what we're going to do is we're going to mesh this blue cheese in, and I like a lot of blue cheese. You don't need a lot of blue cheese, but I love a lot of blue cheese, especially on my wings. So I'm going to mix this up a little bit, get it nice and smashed in, and I'm going to push all of it in there. So see, I like that blue cheese chunk on my wings. Okay, so we're going to mix this in. Now I taste everything, so I want you to, if it's raw, I don't taste it, but if it's not raw, I'm going to taste it. So I tasted it, needed a little bit more garlic, needed a little bit more W sauce, and I just added a little bit more flavor to it. Okay, now you can actually add parsley into this to give it a little bit more color, but you don't need it. I'll actually use the parsley for something else next time. So we're gonna put this in the refrigerator. Now I like to make my blue cheese ahead of time so the flavors can mesh in a little bit better. The longer you put it in there, it's gonna taste really, really good. So go ahead and let's get all that in here. All right, perfect. Now put this lid on. All right. Now, the ghost pepper wing sauce. We're gonna create this sauce and I'm using unsalted butter, of course. Now I use 3 knobs, but you can use 4 or 5, whatever you want. If you want it like a really running your sauce, you're going to add more butter. So I'm just using granulated garlic, Worcestershire, and then I'm going to get some Frank's hot sauce, and I'm going to add this in. Frank's actually has some of the best hot sauce. Now, you can make your own hot sauce if you want from scratch. You can do that. That's no problem. Then I'm going to add cornstarch. Now, I heard somebody also ask me, like, why I didn't make a slurry. Well, the Frank's hot sauce is already cold, so it's like cold water. So this is actually not going to leave lumps in there. I'm going to mix it around. Don't worry. I'm just getting the stove warmed up, and I'm going to mix it around a little bit and let the butter go. So don't worry about it. If you think it's not going to lump up, I guarantee you, once it starts melting down a little bit, the lumps will go away. See, no lumps. Perfect sauce. Now you want to taste this. Like I said, always taste it, see exactly where it is. Now we're going to add a little bit more of the ghost pepper sauce. And like I said, I only add a little bit, but if you want to add it more to it to get it really spicy, do what you do, you know. Hey, you're the king of your castle. Let's go. So now what we want to do is go ahead and get our wings. Now, this is something different that most people think. Most people think, okay, we're going to take our wings, we're just going to put them in the fryer. No, we are not. We are actually going to put it on a wire rack first. Now, why am I doing this step? I'm going to tell you why. When you put it in grease, what happens is it pulls all the moisture out, and it's immediately ramming the temperature up because you're at 350 degrees and you're losing all that water. So you actually lose a lot of the moisture in frying it. So by putting it in the oven for at least about 45 minutes at a good 250 degrees or 300 degrees, and then checking the temperature and getting it to at least 150, 155, 160, and then frying it, you're going to have a really crispy wing, and it's still going to be very juicy. It's not going to be dry. Now, I do have the splatter guard because, yeah, I did get burned a little bit, but, you know, get a splatter guard. It's cheap. It's not very inexpensive. So now I'm checking it. Bam. Over 160. See, 160, 170, 180. Perfect. Now I'm going to put it in a bowl. See how crispy these wings look? So crispy. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add our sauce in there. And I'm adding just a little bit of the sauce and tossing it. And if you want it really saucy, just add a lot more sauce to it. But this was perfect. I did add a little bit more sauce on it when I plated it. Normally I don't do it, but you got to make it look good. So these wings came out nice and crispy. Now it looks drier, but it's actually extremely moist on the inside. So, you know, let me know what other wings you want me to make. These are very good, and if you're keto, these are very keto friendly. So let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.